Welcome aboard. We're Paddy and Esme, and this is Peggy. We recently decided to sell up our lives and move onto a sailing boat. We're dreaming of crossing oceans, but there's a lot of work to do in the meantime. We're super excited to be on YouTube and officially kick off our channel. We hope you enjoy following our adventures. Let's go! God, this is so difficult.
I've done more enjoyable jobs in my time. You sound pissed off. Fuck!
So we want to be really open and honest with these videos, and this winter has been incredibly hard. Every evening after our full-time jobs, we've been going to the boat and spending 2 or 3 hours doing DIY and then going home, falling asleep late and doing it all again the next day. Work has also been really intense for me, and I was reaching a point where I was just burnt out. So I decided to change jobs, and in between finishing and starting, we really wanted to get away.
So we thought, where can we go for cheap? And we're really fortunate to have Ez's aunt and uncle who live down in a beautiful part of South France called Boatlife. So we got some cheap flights, cheap car hire, and now we've got 4 days in the mountains down here.
And it's bloody beautiful. We got back to the UK feeling refreshed and ready to push through the last bits of building our dream home. We were excited by the idea of not having to tear our living space apart again this season.
Esme went off for a week to start her new job, and I was determined to get as much done as I could before she got back. So it's pretty late. It's 20 past 11 on a Wednesday, but I'm determined to get this place clean and get this, which is our new washing machine, fitted in there, or at least in the place it should be, instead of that old sea toilet. And then this will start to feel like a place that you can live rather than a building site that you're camping in. Whilst removing the actual heads themselves, that's quite straightforward. It's just a few bolts around the base. There is a bit to think about in decommissioning the seacocks. Those fitments are underwater, so you have to be really careful. I've done a bit of Googling, and a lot of people say the best way to do it is actually to, when you're out of the water, remove the seacock, the fitment completely, and re-fiberglass the holes. But because I think that there's a chance someone in the future might want to put a second heads back in here, I'm going to kind of decommission the cocks by closing them, and then you can get bronze fitments that like close off and seal off the seacock, and then you just got to regularly check them like you would the other seacocks on the boat, because there's still a weak point that if they deteriorate and break, you've then got a hole that can flood the boat. These used to be connected, and I've disconnected them and covered them off because they were quite smelly, but that's the loop. That will stay in because that goes down to the seacock, and I'll remove it when I cap off the seacock. This will come out with the loo. There's also the pipe there which runs under the floor and up to a loop here, which is the water intake to flush the loo. And I'm actually going to leave that pipe work in because it will be useful for the drain pump out for the washing machine that I'm going to be putting in this space. Managed to get it out without getting any liquid anywhere, which is awesome, and I'm going to leave it on deck. Worry about it tomorrow. What do you think about your new washing machine?
I'm very excited, especially because it's raining outside right now and it's supposed to be miserable for the foreseeable future, so not carrying a huge bag of laundry up to the laundrette once or twice a week is going to be really nice. It all smells really weird, doesn't it? It smells really weird. It smells really weird. It smells really weird.
Yeah, it stinks because it's all like, we don't use this for it to sink, which is why we're taking it out. And so it's just like all the old water's been sitting in the pipes for ages. So I've like disconnected all the pipes. So, oh shit, I didn't mark them. One of them's hot and one of them's cold. I don't know how. We'll work out which. Again, probably. And yeah, this is pretty much ready to come out. I've got as far as that. Oh wow! This was the sink. It's now That's the pipe out the bottom of the sink and the water inlets. Ow, there's sharp nails there. I hope I've got my tetanus jab. I think the plan is that we'll basically put the washing machine in there, and then we'll build a bit of a locker here so you can sit kind of here and do the washing.
After Paddy's big shift last week, it feels like we're nearly there down below. The last major job plan for this winter was to finish fitting the shore power and wiring sockets throughout the saloon and cabin.
I finally came round to fitting the shore power, so I've already turned the saloon into an absolute mess again, having pulled out all the cushions and all the bags that are in the way to run all the cables. But now we've got new input up there, intake, which runs to a consumer unit. I'm just fitting double sockets all the way through the saloon so we can get rid of the massive mess of extension cables that we've been living with for the last few months, and it's going to be such a massive relief. I bought this Marine Co fitment on eBay. It was quite reasonably priced. I think it was like 30 or 40 quid for like an inlet socket that looked quite smart and all stainless and chrome. I was like, brilliant. What I didn't realise is it's this special fitting, and the actual Marine Co cables and sockets that go with this are unbelievably expensive. Like the little adapter that just goes from that kind of socket to your normal shore power thing like this, it's 85 quid. And then a shoreline, like a 15-metre shore hookup cable that goes onto that is nearly 300 quid. But luckily I think Force 4, the Chandlery, do a knockoff version, so I'm probably just going to buy one of those. But anyway, one to watch out for if you're fitting new shore power.
We now have mains power throughout the boat, as well as USB sockets to charge our devices on shore. We hope to fit an inverter and switches so we can use these plugs off the battery when we are cruising. Then, just as we thought we had finished our list, moonlighting reminded us that boat jobs are never done.
So we've woken up this morning on quite a windy, rainy, miserable day. Want to put coffee on, and none of the water's working. We've still got water in the tanks. It's not fused on the board that I can see, so my next thing before I can start work, either we're just gonna have to deal with it not having water for today and fix it later, but I'm gonna quickly put a multimeter onto the pump and check that there's actually getting power to it, so I can tell if it's the pump or if it's something in the fuse or the power supply. But not what you want when you're just trying to have a normal work day. So I think that's probably it. So taking this cap off, this is the pump. I've disconnected it and I've unmounted it and turned it end up, and then it had this little blue cap on. Oh shit, I think I just dropped the screw. Looks like it just got wet under this cap a bit, and then over time this is corroded and snapped. So I'm hoping that would explain why I wasn't getting any power. So I don't actually have any of these blades at the moment, so I'm just going to give it a clean up and just test the connection and see if I can get it powered up. So very annoyingly that hasn't worked either. Before I admitted defeat, I did a bit of forum trawling and discovered that a common problem with these pumps was the pressure switch failing. I would have to wait until my lunch break to run to the chandlery and see if they had the right part to try, but before we could settle into work, another disaster struck. Water's not our friend today. Over on this side of the room, it's not working, and then what little we did have left in the water bottle is now on Esme's laptop. And it's 9:01 and you're during a meeting. So I've nipped out to the chandlery, and luckily they have the pressure switch for our pump, which is really, really good, but never fitted one of these before, so you're gonna try and find a YouTube. Moment of truth.
You ready?
Turn it on.
Woo! That's
Cool.
just it. Let me turn the tap on. Oh yeah.
How's the water pressure?
Yeah, it's fine.
So I'm pleased to say that is all now sorted. Definitely going to get some spares for, and probably a spare water pump before we go do any big crossings, because if that goes, it gets very difficult to get the water out of your tanks. Everything's back to normal in time for me to have a bit of lunch before we have to jump back on afternoon to calls. Spirits are back up.
After that little setback, the sun appeared for what felt like the first time in months. It feels like we finally started a new chapter in our liveaboard lives. The dark winter days look to be behind us, and we have started scheming about all the places we want to visit in our new home.
Tune in next time for a tour of our boat. We will be answering all of your questions, so leave them in the comments below.